Hello, Internet. I am Don't Inquire, recently dubbed Red Shirt Guy 2.0 by the greater Internet community. Recently asked a question that was quite controversial at a BlizzCon Q&A panel regarding a new product they announced, Diablo Immortal, a cell phone game. About 7 whole people have requested that I make a video kind of summarizing my thoughts, what went through my head, and maybe the why. So I thought I would just throw something out there, see if anybody wanted to watch it, make some commentary on the current state of Blizzard Entertainment as a company, and my thoughts and reflection on BlizzCon 2018, how I thought it kind of went overall. So just to get started, you may or may not know, um, I am Don't Inquire across pretty much all social media and gaming platforms. I play a lot of video games. I started with Blizzard Entertainment in the late 90s playing Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, Diablo, StarCraft 1, all the way through the modern era. Played pretty much every Blizzard game. I actually beta tested a number of Blizzard games, Diablo 2 included, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Overwatch, Hearthstone. I think I've probably beta tested pretty much everything. I've played to Legend Rank in Hearthstone, a Masters League in StarCraft, Gladiator and WoW. So I don't just play Blizzard games. I really enjoy Blizzard games. I play the hell out of them. Play for a lot of hours, enough time to achieve kind of some of the higher end goals that a person might have in some of those games. So that's just to give you a little bit of context about me as a Blizzard fan, leading up to my Q&A question at BlizzCon. I guess it all started in August when there was a video that they were kind of hyping up Diablo fans, saying the forges were hot at Blizzard, and we've got a number of projects in the works, and we may have some exciting news to share later in the year. So, oh my God, a new Diablo something. I actually didn't think Diablo 4 at all. It wouldn't be anything different enough about Diablo 4 to merit its own entry into the franchise just 6 years after D3. So I thought Diablo 3 expansion pack 2, the Druid class, something, maybe something to expand kind of on the end game, give us a little better itemization, make the game worth playing for, a larger quantity of time. And, at the very least, something ancillary, like a side grade game, a standalone little project, a comic series, Netflix series, what have you. And so I was hyped up. So BlizzCon's coming up. We got about a week to go. And then boom, there's a blog post that says, don't get your hopes up about Diablo. I'm like, oh my God, going in a week, dying for something Diablo related. Been playing a ton of Path of Exile, ton of Diablo 3, Median XL, just really hoping for kind of the next big Diablo thing. So we get there. There's a leak from 4chan. It's Diablo Mobile. I'm like, oh God, please no. And then we see pictures from the Reddit live thread. And the Reddit live thread, the pictures of the demo stations, and they're the coverings for the demo stations in previous years, been computer games. So this, boom, it's this huge covering. It's obvious there's like a desktop tower. There's a monitor under there. It's a computer game. And we see these and they're like, pow. And I'm like, shit, it's a mobile game. Like I immediately, opening ceremony hasn't even happened. I'm like, it's a mobile game. I was so, I was heartbroken. But I was like, no, wait, come on. Maybe it's something like really cool. Maybe it's like a base building game. Maybe it's like a murder mystery, a puzzle game, like something, I don't know, something goofy, something, unique and silly and different. Blizzard loves to do these little ancillary kind of goofy things. So I wasn't like completely disappointed, but I was ready. So get to the opening ceremony. I'm sitting at the opening ceremony. I'm waiting. I'm ready. I'm like, come on, give us something. Then there's all kinds of, there's like technical issues. It starts 20 minutes late. It's a little off. Some of the presenters seem a little off. It seemed like kind of a mess behind the scenes. One of the stages had no sound. They had to cut an entire segment for Hearthstone and then move on to another stage. And of course, Jeff Kaplan comes out. He's a rock star. Everybody loves Overwatch. They made, a character, and she's awesome. There's a trailer. It's really cool. They've got some neat stuff for, Heroes of the Storm. And talk a little bit about, their other projects. And then boom, Warcraft 3 Reforged. And immediately I'm like, there's no way we're getting a Diablo 2 remaster. I don't even want a Diablo 2 remaster. I just want a Diablo 2 remaster more than I want a Diablo mobile game. So I'm like, ah, damn. So it's like I'm kind of midway through the opening ceremony and I'm already pissed off. Like I've flown across the country. I'm here. I love Blizzard. I love Blizzard games. I'm ready to see the next big thing. And I'm like, it's just whatever it is, it probably sucks. And so they bring out the reveal and he starts saying things, Wyatt started saying things like family friendly, you know, mobile devices. And I just groan. I'm sitting with all my friends and my wife and I'm like, oh my God, please make it stop. So the trailer comes up and then boom, NetEase. And I'm like, are you shitting me? It's like I'm playing Blizzard games 22 years. They're the best trailers in the business. I've never seen another company's logo pop up with Blizzard's logo. Never, not once. And then NetEase and Blizzard get equal billing on the trailer. Oh, geez, I was had to like have my hands in my head. I was ready to leave. I was like, are you gotta be kidding me? This is maybe the worst reveal I've ever seen. Of course, it's dead last, so there's like nothing coming after it. So then, they play the trailer. It's an okay trailer. It's a Blizzard trailer. Still, it looks awesome and fun. And okay, the opening ceremony closes. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I walk over to the Mythic stage because I was too late to get there for the opening ceremony. But for the Diablo Q&A, I'm like, okay, I'll show up. So I'm sitting in the back and I'm listening. I'm watching the Q&A, session. Before the Q&A, they had a panel where they kind of cover, here's everything about Diablo Mobile, and here's why we're excited. And I noticed a few key things. Number one, it's that not all the classes are implemented for the demo. Okay, no items. It's a Diablo game, which is all about items. No items. They didn't show a single legendary set. Nothing. And then you're seeing the characters run through and they put on items. None of the items are reflected on the characters at all. So you see, like, you got this Diablo, looking game, but there's no character customization at all. They didn't talk at all about runes or gems or no anything. I mean, it was like we've got this like linear layout. You can run through this demo with a couple of the classes and that's it. And I was just, oh, I was devastated. I was devastated about what this meant for the franchise, because it's not, frequently they've run out this line, well, we've got multiple Diablo projects in the works, we got multiple teams across multiple yada yada. And when I think about a project at Blizzard Entertainment, I don't think like, man, I really hope that they're making 5 games right now. I really hope they're making like 5 Diablo things. I hope they're making one like industry defining gold standard video game, because for 22 years, every single time there's a Blizzard game, it's like the best game of its kind. It's like the people making World of Warcraft and they're sitting around in 2000 thinking, God, I want to make a game like this. They weren't like trying to make a middling game. They were trying to take everything they learned from, EverQuest, RuneScape, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever they were doing, where they got other people together, played an RPG. They're like, how can we take all of this and just, bam, slam it into the absolute best possible online multiplayer game we can make? And then you get something like World of Warcraft. And every single game since has to look at World of Warcraft and say, okay, how do we get up to this point? How do we reach this standard? God forbid we try to exceed it. Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction, in a lot of ways it was like that. You got games like Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, Torchlight Sacred, Titan Quest, Dungeon Quest Siege. You get all of these games and they're like, how do we get up to Diablo 2 level? Come along, 2012, 2011, you've got Grinding Gear Games making Path of Exile, and they're looking around like, oh my God, how do we do as well as Diablo 2? And how do we surpass it? And that's been my feeling for everything that they've launched. For 22 years I've been playing Blizzard games. Every single game comes along and I'm just blown away. And like, this is the best game of its kind, and everybody else is going to try to keep up now. And how are these other companies going to even try to get to where they can compete, with what Blizzard has made? And so when I watched that reveal trailer, when the Q&A panel was going on, and after kind of everything had come out, and browsing, the subreddit and finding out as much information as I could, my takeaway from Diablo Immortal was that it looked like a game that was the result of a lot of people sitting in a room asking the question, how can we make a game that the largest quantity of people can play, period. And that was it. That's what it looks like. And I'm not saying that that's how it came about. I'm saying what it looks like is that they just really wanted to make a mobile game, and it didn't matter what game it was or what franchise, what IP it came from. It looked like it just wanted to reach as large an audience as possible, and this was the result that came out of it. You know, because if you look at previous games, even Diablo 3, yeah, it had some misses. Story and artwork were heavily criticized before the game was ever released, but it looked like a passion project. Like, people got in a room and said, how the hell can we make the best adventure, action adventure RPG game? How can we make our best version of this game? And even with Reaper of Souls, they were like, how can we take what we already have and make it the best version of itself? And Josh Mosquera, game director at the time, I think really nailed that goal. Boom, kill the auction house, fix itemization, fix the looting, and it really helped the game. And I think when I look at a title like Diablo Immortal, what I saw at the announcement was, it didn't look like how you could make the best possible Diablo game, because the best possible Diablo game, hands down, is going to be on a computer. So once they have this, okay, we got Diablo 3, we got Reaper Souls, we made the best game we could make. How do we get it in front of as many people as possible? That's the Blizzard process, right? You take a game like Hearthstone, they made it on computers because they wanted to make sure it's the best computer game that they can make. And then they said, now how can we get it in front of people who have, don't have a computer, they have a phone, they have an Android, a tablet or an iPhone. And it kind of evolved, from there, that they ported it to lesser platforms. Well, the big distinguishing factor for me with Diablo Immortal is that this game, and I saw Lord Fluffy's question, does it ever come to PC? I was like, I didn't ask that because I knew immediately you would not want this game on PC. No one would want to play this on PC. There's going to be like 1/10 the enemies on screen, a limited number of effects. Everything's, the controls are going to be clunky. It's basically Diablo 3 light. It was really, I was looking at this trailer and I was like, this is Diablo 3. I thought, if I hadn't heard him say brand new fully fledged mobile experience and I watched the gameplay trailer, I would have thought this is Diablo 3 for phones, because that's exactly what it looked like. It looked identical to Diablo 3. And if you trace back, 20 years, look at Blizzard's history, none of their games look like any of their other games, and none of their games look like a previous entry in that franchise. I mean, look at StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. They look dramatically different. Look at Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft. They all look dramatically different from one another. There's so many mechanical upgrades between the iterations of these games that it's, if they didn't have the same characters and story, you'd think this is a whole new different game. And when you look at Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction, it's miles apart from kind of the art and the direction and the skills, in Diablo 3. But if you look at Diablo 3 and Diablo Immortal, it looks like somebody made just a really crappy port of an already pretty great game. And I think probably a lot of people may have felt that way, when they saw that announcement. And that's something that I haven't heard mentioned a lot because I've seen a lot of the reaction videos. Diablo Immortal's biggest problem is not that it looks like a reskinned Chinese copy of itself, from an engine that a third-party company built in China in 2010. The biggest problem that it has is it looks exactly like the previous title in its own franchise. I mean, it doesn't do anything that sets it apart from Diablo 3 in a better way. I mean, the skills are watered down, the controls are watered down, the graphics are watered down. I don't know how it came about. I know how it looks like it came about and how it felt like it came about. And I am certain that the developers at Blizzard are passionate, intense, hardworking individuals, and that they really believe in the work that they're doing and in the games that they're making. And that made it all the worse for me, because the best that this game could do is to be mediocre. And I think if you have a company like Blizzard, and they come out in a press conference and say, we have more projects in the pipeline than in the history of Blizzard Entertainment. That's like Mercedes coming out and saying, we're going to put out 20 different kinds of car this year. And I'm just thinking, how are all 20 of these cars going to be a flagship quality benchmark car for the industry to follow? There's no way. Like, this is what the budget value section of car purchasing looks like. There's no way you are setting the gold standard for the entire industry if you're making 15 different games at the same time. When World of Warcraft was made, they weren't sitting in a room trying to figure out how to make 15 different Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo games. The 90% of the people were like, how do we make the best Warcraft MMO that we could possibly make, and how do we get that on computer? And I think that I think that's really where the letdown occurred. That was really what stumped me, because I just was shocked by that. I hadn't fully realized that Blizzard was really more about making a bunch of games than making really, really great games. And I love the great games that they have made over the years. I still enjoy Hearthstone. I think StarCraft 2 is the benchmark for real-time strategy games in the industry to this day. It is amazing. The pro scene is awesome. It's fun. It's engaging. It's fast-paced. It's intense. And some of their other projects, maybe not as exciting for me lately. Diablo 3, I come in, I play it, I finish the season in about 4 days, and then I'm done. And I just really hoped we might see a return to form, with a kind of a focus and an emphasis on quality above all else. And I think if any other game in their history got a 97% dislike ratio on YouTube, they would have canned it. I mean, they got better responses to StarCraft, Ghost, and Adventures of Thrall. I think people were very excited to play those games, and they still canned them because they're like, this doesn't live up to Blizzard's quality. And the response was, well, everybody at Blizzard is now playing a bunch of mobile games, and we're spreading kind of the lessons learned from Candy Crush over to the rest of Blizzard. And I guess my takeaway from all that, my real Q&A question, and I had a number of real Q&A questions that I knew would not get an answer, and I really wasn't interested in non-answers. I really wanted to just express the feeling that I think a ton of Diablo fans around the world had. My question is, what mobile games are all of your top developers playing that now all of Blizzard wants to make a bunch of mobile games? That would really, I think, explain to everyone who is a current fan what we can anticipate in the next 5 years from Blizzard Entertainment. And, maybe we could go ahead and grieve and move on and find a different, find a different company to be a super fan of. I don't know if I feel like a super fan of Blizzard anymore, so much as I just feel like an ATM or a customer for them. I didn't go to BlizzCon because they made a few okay mobile games or products. I went to BlizzCon because in my life, they've made the best video games that I have ever played, bar none. And this is not that. It's totally and completely not that. And, I would close in saying that I don't have a problem if Blizzard Entertainment has decided that mobile is the space and that's the kind of games they want to make, and they really want to get as many people as possible who have a credit card on file to just log in. That's fine. You're a business. Go make money. That's okay. I think don't let people go to BlizzCon who have been your fans for 20 years and then break their hearts there. Just do it in a blog post, because then I can just not buy plane tickets and book a hotel. I can just stay at home and be upset and maybe talk about it on the internet. I don't have to go to a Q&A session and say, why the hell did you do this? And, I think the future of Blizzard is very, very, very bright. If you're an investor, if you're a shareholder, they are going to generate a lot of revenue. They're going to make a lot of profit. And, as far as their games are concerned, I really don't know. I think I'll probably play some of them. I think that they'll be like any other developer in the industry. If they make one that looks good here or there, I'll probably pick it up. But I think that's really where the line stops, because for me, for 22 years, Blizzard Entertainment games have been a must-buy on release day. And Diablo Mobile really showed that they're not interested in making the best possible game. And by the way, I played the game. It bored me after about 4 minutes because my thumb covered half the screen on either side. And, when you're like doing a meteor targeted skill or whatever, you just can't see what's going on the rest of the screen. And there's not enough new. No one cares about the story of Diablo. Nobody who played a Diablo game for 1,500 hours thought, geez, only they add more story. If I play a game for story, I generally am done with that game right after I kill the last boss of the game for the first time, and then I never pick it up again. And that has never been the case with any Blizzard game. So if you say we're going to take the worst aspect of Diablo 3, the thing people hated the most, and we're going to center the franchise around that going forward and put it on phones, and you can't play it offline, good luck. I think that's not a game for me. That's okay. Go make money, go be profitable. Just, don't hype us up and then let us all down in person. Maybe do it with some blog posts. And that is, I hope, summarizes kind of Red Shirt Guy's thoughts on the whole Diablo BlizzCon fiasco, and kind of covers my motivations, my thoughts, and I'm, I guess, gonna leave it at that. Thanks, Blizzard, for all the great games over the years. I hope that you make some more great games. I'm not ready anymore now. I'm just skeptical.